I'm Ron Coles, and I'm here with my partner in student development and environmental stewardship, Jason Stroman. And we are BEE, Black environmental educators, and we're here to ask you to help us create a BEE-Hive. It's a software program that will help us and other workforce development programs that are equally as small as we are connect our youth to each other, to their mentors, and to opportunities for them to develop that are directly tied to their career interests. So we'll go over more about the functionality that we're hoping for, but first we'll tell you a little bit more about ourselves and about Blueprint. So that's me up there in one of my favorite places in the river. And I've been doing recruitment and retention of students of color in science, technology, engineering, and math for about 20 years. I'm the executive director of the Blueprint Foundation, but I also have a for-profit where I work with organizations on their equity and inclusion issues so that when our students get to their new workplaces, they are welcome and supported. Okay.
My name is Jason Stroman. I am the program director of the Blueprint Foundation. My background is in social work. I've worked in mentoring and counseling youth in some way or another for 20 years, over 20 years. I'm also the immediate past president of the local chapter of Phi Beta Sigma fraternity, historically black fraternity, which was instrumental here in establishing the Blueprint Foundation. So it was mentioned earlier that these are polarizing times, and a big part of that is because we're still living in the after effects of our legacy of racism in this country and the way it's embedded in all our institutions, whether it's education, health, the tech industry, it permeates everywhere, and the green sector is no exception to that. So like a colleague likes to say, if racism is the root cause, representation is the solution. So that's the premise that the Blueprint was founded on. So the four tenets of our organization are education, career, family, community. You've heard already a lot about the displacement that's gone on in Portland. Our community, our historical community has been pushed out from the north to the number. And so a lot of what we do is recruiting kids from around the city to help them rebuild and reconnect with that community. We also supplement their education. The schools are just failing them in a lot of ways. But the most immediate impactful thing we can do is help train them, expose them, give them experiences and skills that will help them compete for careers, family-sustaining careers, to help pull themselves out of that cycle. And so, Ron talked about the model that we use for that.
Yep. We aren't haphazard about our student development. We actually have an evidence-based model that we use. It's called the WISE model, where first we take students out along with their mentors and they witness natural settings. And they also witness the folks that spend their career protecting those settings. And then we investigate, right? So we look at issues that are connected to the larger watershed but show up in their neighborhoods. Then the students select an issue to solve. And so we do lots of community enhancement projects, lots of restoration projects to get them the knowledge about environmental science and the competencies they need to become environmental scientists themselves. Then the students solidify that knowledge by educating their community. So they go to K-8 schools and they are now the expert, right? So all these little kids see black and brown faces teaching them about things like fish ecology and the importance of water quality and riparian zones. And so those little kids then can become the next Blueprint students in the future. And so we have impacts. We have impacts directly to the students, and we also have impacts to our communities.
Double-fisted. All right, so we're in our fourth year, and we've been doing great work. We've been, we started small, but we're still a two-man operation. Our first year, We graduated, that first year we graduated 9 young men. We started as a male mentoring program. We evolved from a male mentoring program. And we currently serve over 50 students. And so our biggest challenge now is just the lack of human resources and the bandwidth to effectively connect large numbers of our students to opportunities in real time, and then also be able to track the impacts that we're having effectively. In the meanwhile, in the short term, we've had a lot of success stories with the students we've been working with. Like I said, we started as a male mentoring program, but in response to demand from the community, we went co-ed a couple years ago. This young lady, Lachey, was one of the first ones to sign up. She's an honor roll student. She does 3 sports a year, but she was really intrigued by the opportunity to engage in environmental education, and she's taken advantage of all the opportunities through partnerships with other local organizations. She's taught on field trips. She was part of some of this last year where some of our students mentored kids at Kairos PDX in their aftercare program. And she was just recently recognized as one of 12 leaders in her community for her educational efforts, educating younger children. London, Josh is another 3-year veteran who started as a sophomore, just graduated high school. Again, through his participation, realized he really enjoyed being outdoors. So he was able to connect with Josh. He spent the last 3 summers working for Portland Parks and Rec, removing ivy from parks. He's had several internships, and he's strongly considering a career in environmental education because he's realized that's something that comes natural to him and something he enjoys. Along with London here, we'll talk about in a moment. So London was I'll talk to him in a moment. So another big part of our program is that we hire near-peer mentors, so college age or recent graduates, to work with the students who can connect with them on a much more intimate level than us old guys can sometimes, give them advice about their schooling and just life in general. And then as they're in their career path, we also help them network and develop skills that are going to advance their aspirations. So this is a perfect example of Marcus here. In our first year, he was one of our mentors who was studying aquaponics. He had a passion for that. So he developed a project for the students to build their own aquaponic gardens. He did such a good job that he used that as part of his application and ended up getting funded at a school in Arizona to further develop his systems. And so he's actually still at the University of Arizona as an assistant professor. So these are just a few examples. And then, obviously the impact to families. This is a quote from one of our parents. London, we started out working just with high school students, but his mom was homeschooling their kids at the time. It's like, my son needs this. He has no black males in his life. He really needs some mentorship. And so we brought him on. He was like a little mascot going on outings. And he's in his 3rd year, and if you let his mother tell it, he's completely transformed from being a shy kid to now he's like leading field trips and leading classrooms. So that's just some of the impacts on the short term that we've had with kids. But Ron's going to talk about some more where we want to take it to.
Yeah, so those are some of our impacts, but we feel we can do better. And I also know that the other workforce development programs that are equally small feel the same way. We went, I guess it was 6 months ago now, to a My Memorial Trust event where they brought together workforce development programs that are culturally specific, and we talked about our issues and what we needed, right, from funders. And what we came out of that meeting with was we all, of course, need money, but we needed money to have case managers, to have someone that can connect students to opportunities. So we are proposing the Blueprint Hive, which is a digital career counselor that we've been searching for. And so they would do, the program would do all the things that a counselor would do. Okay? So the software would orient students, so onboarding, and they would tell students about general opportunities like our stewardship events, and also specific announcements based on student interest data. That data would, we use Max, so I apologize for this. You just gotta roll with it sometimes, right? So the program would also collect that data, right? So it would collect data on our current students as well as our alumni, and it would collect information about our environmental impacts and the social capital that our students are gaining. It would connect peers to each other and to their mentors. And we're hoping to have a group texting function so that we can talk to all the students at once. The students can ask for assistance to the whole group at once. And they would get automatic reminders as well. We'd like to have conversation tracking so that we know who said what to whom. Right? So we can go back and look at the record to see how we've been helping students or how we can help them better.
So yeah, these are our future leaders in the green sector, and with your support, they will be the future they're going to see.